A major trading loss doesn't just hurt your account, it hurts your identity. It shakes you in a way few things can. Because trading isn't just numbers on a screen, it's hours of study, it's nights you didn't sleep, it's dreams you told no one about. It's the belief that one day this skill will be the thing that changes your life. And when a drawdown hits hard, hard enough to make you question whether you're built for this, it feels like everything you've worked for just evaporated. But here's the truth. Profitable millionaire traders understand. The difference between a trader who blows up and a trader who bounces back is not the size of the loss. It's the quality of the recovery plan. Not the emotional plan, not the motivational plan, the mathematical, psychological, and practical plan they follow after the damage is done. Because drawdowns are unavoidable. But destruction? That's optional. And the traders who come out stronger don't survive by luck. They survive because they know exactly what to do the moment everything goes wrong. The recovery begins before you even touch the charts. The first thing millionaire traders do is stop pretending the loss was just a loss. They accept that a major drawdown is a red flag that something deeper is off. It might be discipline, it might be risk exposure, it might be market conditions they didn't respect, it might be emotional impulsiveness disguised as opportunity. But the point is, the loss is a signal, and signals are data. Most traders react emotionally and try to make the pain go away by trading back immediately. But the profitable traders? They step back because they know decisions made in emotional turbulence will destroy them faster than any market condition ever could. Acceptance is the gateway to rational thinking. But acceptance doesn't mean surrender. Acceptance means acknowledging the situation without shame or excuses. A losing streak isn't a personal failing, it's feedback about your system, your behavior, or your conditions. And the moment you look at your drawdown objectively, you reclaim the power to fix it. Emotional trading shuts down the logical brain. Acceptance turns it back on. The next step is stopping the bleeding. And this is where losing traders fail repeatedly. They keep trading because they're chasing the emotional relief of getting back to even. But profitable traders know you don't fix a sinking ship by running faster. You fix it by stopping the holes first. So they freeze all discretionary trading. They reduce trade size to the smallest allowable unit. They shut down all strategies that performed poorly during the loss. They cut risk like surgeons cutting infection out of a wound. Because the goal after a major drawdown isn't to make money. The goal is to stop losing more money while you diagnose the root issue. That diagnosis comes from the post-drawdown audit. And this is where millionaire traders separate themselves from amateurs entirely. They run a full breakdown of the loss, what triggered it, what conditions existed, what they felt before entering, how their system responded, whether the trade aligned with their rules, and what deviations occurred. The audit is uncomfortable because it exposes truths your ego wants to avoid. But high-level traders don't protect their ego, they protect their capital. They look brutally at what they did and admit exactly how they contributed to the drawdown. There are 4 categories profitable traders analyze: system error, execution error, emotional error, and market regime error. And they never confuse them. System errors mean your strategy doesn't function under certain conditions, maybe consolidation, maybe high volatility, maybe news-driven spikes. Execution errors mean your system works, but you didn't follow it accurately. Emotional errors mean your system works, but you didn't follow yourself accurately. And market regime errors mean your system works, but not in that environment. Most losing traders treat all losses the same, but millionaire traders know the recovery plan depends on the cause. Once they identify the cause, they do something most traders never think to do. They quantify the damage. Not just financially, but statistically. They calculate the percentage drawdown. They calculate how much percentage gain they would need to recover. They calculate the theoretical number of trades needed to climb back to new equity highs. And when they see those numbers, they reconnect with something crucial. Drawdowns feel catastrophic emotionally, but mathematically, they're often reversible if you stop doing the thing that caused them. After the diagnosis comes the stabilization phase. This is where profitable traders build psychological equilibrium again. Because after a major loss, your brain is in survival mode. Your nervous system is wired. Your trust in your strategy is shaken. And your sense of self-confidence is fractured. Millionaire traders know they cannot trade effectively in that state. So before they resume full risk, they rebuild emotional neutrality. They journal the emotional side of the drawdown. They write out the moments they felt fear, anger, revenge, or desperation. They confront the emotional impulses that led to mistakes. They identify the beliefs they attach to the loss. Beliefs like, I'm failing, I'm behind, I should be further ahead, or I can't accept this setback. By pulling these thoughts out of their subconscious and into the open, they remove their power. And something else happens too. They become aware of the psychological patterns that triggered the drawdown. Most traders don't understand that the emotional side is part of the system. It's not separate. Your psychology is always trading with you. And if you don't stabilize it, it will sabotage your recovery every time. When millionaire traders feel mentally stable again, they move to the recalibration phase. This is where the technical side of recovery begins. They refine their strategy based on what the audit revealed. If the drawdown came from market regime mismatch, they adjust filters to avoid low-quality conditions. If the drawdown came from execution errors, they increase rule clarity and structure. If the drawdown came from emotional impulsiveness, they implement emotion-proofing protocols. For some, this means hard rules like no trading after a losing day or no doubling risk after a win. For others, it means automating parts of their system so their emotions have less influence. Then comes the micro-trading phase. This is a phase most retail traders never use, which is why they keep repeating the same cycles of boom, bust, and burnout. Micro-trading is where profitable traders trade at the smallest size possible while testing the updated system. They don't jump back to normal size. They don't try to recover the account quickly. They focus on rebuilding execution consistency, reinforcing discipline, and generating non-emotional data. Because this data tells them whether the system is functioning properly after adjustments. During this phase, they monitor three metrics: win rate stability, drawdown depth, and equity curve smoothness. They don't care about profit. They care about behavior. They care about system alignment. They care about whether their actions reflect discipline instead of emotion. And once the micro-trading data proves that the system is stable, they begin the controlled scaling phase. This phase is where traders rebuild confidence and capital systematically, but they do it in a way that protects them from reliving the same drawdown. Millionaire traders scale in stages, not emotionally, not impulsively, but mathematically. They increase risk only after a certain threshold of consistent performance is met. It might be a number of trades, a percentage of growth, a set of flawless execution days. And if they violate discipline, scaling pauses immediately. They don't reward inconsistency with more risk. They reward consistency with controlled growth. Scaling becomes a privilege earned through discipline, not an emotional reaction to losses or gains. Now, once they've recovered consistency and stabilized performance, millionaire traders do something most traders never think about. They analyze the psychological scar left by the drawdown, because every major loss leaves a mark. And if you don't address that scar consciously, it will shape your trading unconsciously. It will make you hesitant to take valid trades. It will make you fearful of risk. It will make you self-sabotage when you start winning again. So they reflect not just on the technical lesson, but on the emotional lesson. They ask themselves, what belief did this drawdown teach me? What weakness did it expose? What discipline did it force me to strengthen? What blind spot did it reveal? And how can I use this experience to fortify my trading identity? This is how they turn pain into power, by converting emotional wounds into structural upgrades. Millionaire traders also integrate risk restructuring into their recovery plan. They reassess their maximum per trade risk, their daily loss limits, their weekly drawdown limits, and their stopping points. They don't rely on hope or feelings to control damage. They build risk frameworks that protect them from themselves. They know they cannot eliminate losses, but they can prevent catastrophic losses. So they establish boundaries that keep them disciplined even on their worst days. This is not weak. This is strength. Because true discipline is not trusting your willpower, it's designing systems that remove your need for willpower altogether. The final step in the recovery plan is rebuilding identity. The traders who stay profitable long-term don't see a drawdown as a personal failure. They see it as the training ground of mastery. Every great trader you know, every fund manager, every high net worth trader went through devastating losses. But what made them great wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It was the ability to rebuild themselves with higher precision, higher discipline, and higher self-awareness each time. They don't avoid adversity. They evolve through it. They understand that resilience is the real edge, not the strategy, not the indicator, not the entry technique, but the ability to recover without breaking. Now, let's go deeper into the recovery framework by breaking down exactly how millionaire traders stabilize their emotions after a major loss. Because emotional turbulence is the real killer. When fear, frustration, and desperation take over, traders make decisions that have nothing to do with logic. Millionaire traders know they can't trust their instincts immediately after a loss. So they create emotional cooling protocols, mandatory breaks, timeout periods, meditation sessions, journaling windows, or simple chart-free days. These aren't optional. They're requirements. Because their number one priority isn't revenge, it's neutrality. Neutrality is the state in which your brain makes rational data-based decisions. After a major loss, your brain is wired for survival, not logic. You're more likely to misinterpret market signals, overestimate risk, underestimate patience, and execute impulsively. By enforcing emotional cooling, traders prevent emotional trades that could turn a major drawdown into a total account collapse. They don't rush to fix the account, they stabilize the mind first. Because no recovery is possible without psychological neutrality. Once emotional neutrality is established, millionaire traders begin the technical reconstruction. This involves reviewing every trade in the drawdown period, identifying patterns of failure, isolating whether the system was broken or the execution was broken, and mapping out exactly where discipline collapsed. They're not just looking for what went wrong, they're looking for clues. Drawdowns often reveal blind spots, risk too high for market volatility, setups taken during low-probability hours, deviations caused by stress or fatigue, lack of structure in entries or exits, or markets that behave differently from usual. The audit shines light on these blind spots so they can be eliminated. Here's something most retail traders never do. Millionaire traders separate the emotional narrative from the factual narrative. The emotional narrative is, I messed up, I suck at this, I can't believe I lost that much, I should be better than this. The factual narrative is, these were the conditions, these were the setups, these were the violations, these were the outcomes. Emotional narratives drain confidence. Factual narratives restore clarity. Millionaire traders are only concerned with facts. Because facts produce actionable solutions, while emotions produce spirals. After analyzing the data, they identify whether the drawdown was caused by external conditions or internal behavior. External conditions might include high volatility periods, macroeconomic events, liquidity shifts, or trends transitioning into ranges. Internal behavior includes impulsive entries, oversized positions, ignoring stop losses, trading fatigue, or emotional overreaction. And here's the critical thing. Millionaires treat both categories differently. External condition drawdowns require system adjustments. Internal behavior drawdowns require personal discipline restructuring. This restructuring is where they rebuild the rules that prevent future collapses. They refine their trading checklist. They strengthen their trade filters. They eliminate all ambiguous rules and replace them with binary conditions, yes or no, valid or invalid, enter or don't enter. Because ambiguity is the gateway to impulsive behavior. Binary rules protect traders from emotional improvisation. Now, let's talk about something rarely discussed but extremely important: identity dissonance. After a major loss, traders often experience a disconnect between who they believe they are and what just happened. They think of themselves as disciplined, but they acted impulsively. They think of themselves as skilled, but they made a rookie mistake. They think of themselves as resilient, but they broke at pressure. This dissonance creates internal friction, and friction leads to self-doubt. Millionaire traders resolve this dissonance by reframing the loss as part of their development, not a contradiction of their identity. They remind themselves that mastery includes failure, that discipline includes lapses, that risk includes pain, and by aligning their identity with reality, they erase the shame associated with the drawdown. Shame keeps traders stuck. Acceptance pushes them forward. Next comes strategic rebuilding. Millionaire traders understand that confidence is built through controlled success, not hope. So they rebuild confidence through micro wins, small, consistent, low-risk trades that validate their system and execution. These micro wins aren't about making money. They're about proving that discipline works again. Every micro win is a reinforcement. Every correct execution is a psychological repair. Every disciplined exit is a reminder that they are regaining control. And once the data shows stability, they begin scaling gradually. Scaling after a drawdown is an art, because scaling too fast triggers fear. Fear triggers hesitancy. Hesitancy triggers inconsistency. And inconsistency leads to fresh losses. So, millionaire traders scale at the pace confidence grows, not at the pace they want to recover money. They build risk tolerance slowly, methodically. They let their emotional capacity adapt to increased exposure. And if they ever feel psychological pressure rising, they scale back down instantly, not because of weakness, but because of maturity. Another vital part of the millionaire recovery plan is rebuilding system trust. After a major loss, confidence in your system is shaken. And without trust in your system, you cannot execute it consistently. Millionaire traders rebuild system trust by running historical tests, forward simulations, and real-time micro trading. They need to see, with data, that their system still works. The data becomes the foundation for trust, not feelings, not assumptions, but hard statistical proof. This is how they trade with conviction again. One of the most important pieces of the recovery plan is redefining the drawdown as feedback, not failure. Because drawdowns hold lessons you cannot learn any other way. They reveal your true psychological weaknesses. They expose your lack of structure. They highlight the places where your discipline breaks. They show you the parts of your system that aren't robust. They teach you humility, patience, and strategic thinking. Millionaire traders don't resent the drawdown. They study it. They extract wisdom from it. They turn it into a competitive advantage. They also understand something most traders ignore. The market punishes ego. Drawdowns often come from overconfidence, from thinking you're untouchable, from forgetting that markets can humble anyone, at any time. Millionaire traders use drawdowns as ego resets. They remind themselves that no matter how skilled they are never bigger than the market. This humility protects them from making reckless decisions in the future. Another critical step in the millionaire recovery plan is restoring routine. After a major loss, chaos enters your trading environment. You start sleeping less, watching charts more obsessively, doubting your entries, hesitating on exits, and questioning every decision. Routine brings order, routine brings structure, routine brings discipline. Millionaire traders return to their daily routines with religious consistency. Morning analysis, pre-market preparation, journaling sessions, scheduled breaks, end-of-day reviews. Routine creates stability. Stability creates clarity. Clarity creates good trading decisions. One of the most overlooked parts of the recovery plan is environmental detox. The environment you trade in affects your decision-making. If your environment is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. So millionaire traders ensure that their trading environment is calm, clean, structured, and optimized for focus. They remove distractions. They eliminate noise. They organize their workspace. They create a trading environment where discipline becomes natural. Environment shapes behavior more powerfully than motivation ever could. Risk recalibration is another essential component. Millionaire traders reassess their maximum risk per trade, their maximum daily loss, and their weekly drawdown limits. They adapt their risk framework to their current emotional and financial resilience. Because risk tolerance is dynamic, it changes after a major loss, and traders who ignore this end up risking too much too soon. Millionaire traders respect the emotional aftershock of a drawdown and reduce risk until their mind and system stabilize again. Now, let's talk about the core principle behind every millionaire trader's recovery plan: protecting longevity. Their goal is never to win back money quickly. Their goal is to survive long enough for their edge to play out. Trading is a longevity game. Drawdowns are part of the journey, but catastrophic drawdowns end the journey. Millionaire traders recover slowly because speed is the enemy of survival. They recover carefully because recklessness destroys accounts. They recover systematically because systems produce consistency. They recover patiently because patience protects capital. One of the most important mental shifts millionaire traders make during recovery is separating self-worth from outcomes. A major loss hurts deeply because traders often tie their identity to their performance. When they lose, they feel worthless. When they win, they feel valuable. Millionaire traders break this pattern. They separate who they are from what they do. They treat trading performance as data, not a judgment of their value as a person. This mental separation creates emotional resilience. When you stop taking losses personally, you stop making emotional decisions. Another essential step is addressing overtrading. After a major loss, traders often overtrade to recover. Millionaire traders restrict their trade frequency. They impose trade limits. They reduce the number of setups they take. They narrow their focus. Less trading equals less room for emotional mistakes. More trading equals more room for emotional sabotage. They know that quality, not quantity, is what rebuilds accounts. Let's talk about fear of re-entry. After a major drawdown, many traders develop anxiety around taking trades again. Millionaire traders ease back in gradually. They don't jump directly into high-risk trades. They start with clear setups, high-probability conditions, and A-plus opportunities. They build psychological confidence by choosing trades that align perfectly with their system. Every successful trade reduces fear. Every disciplined trade rebuilds trust. And trust is the foundation of recovery. Another important element is controlling expectations. Millionaire traders do not expect to recover quickly. They don't pressure themselves to get back to their previous equity high. They don't set arbitrary deadlines. They allow the process to unfold naturally. Unrealistic expectations create emotional pressure. Emotional pressure creates impulsive behavior. Impulsive behavior triggers new losses. So they remove expectations entirely and focus solely on consistency. Millionaire traders also implement randomness filters. They understand that some drawdowns are caused by randomness, not flaws. They identify whether losses occurred because of noise, variance, or bad luck, and they adjust accordingly. They don't overreact to randomness. They adapt only to structural issues. One of the most powerful parts of the recovery plan is reestablishing conviction. Conviction is belief in your system's long-term profitability. Without conviction, every drawdown feels fatal. With conviction, every drawdown feels temporary. Millionaire traders rebuild conviction through data, backtesting, forward testing, and journaling successful executions. They use evidence to restore belief. Because conviction built on emotion is fragile, but conviction built on data is unbreakable. Finally, millionaire traders end their recovery with a full emotional reset. They forgive themselves. They let go of the mistakes. They release the emotional weight of the drawdown. They accept the loss as part of the journey. And they return to the market with a clear mind, a stronger system, and a more resilient identity. And this is the real secret. Drawdowns don't break profitable traders, they build them. Every recovery plan is a transformation. Every setback is an upgrade. Every painful loss is a lesson that refines the trader you're becoming. The drawdown doesn't end your journey. It reshapes it. And the traders who master recovery become the traders who achieve longevity, stability, and real financial freedom. If you want to succeed in trading, the question isn't whether you will face a major loss. You will. The question is whether you will rise from it with more wisdom, more discipline, and more strength than you had before. That's what profitable millionaire traders do. They don't run from adversity, they rebuild through it. And that is how they win the long game. Because in trading, the winners are not the ones who avoid drawdowns. The winners are the ones who master the recovery.